Wow.
Yeah, that happened.
Okay. What was going on, man? How did that come about?
I took a break, brother. Was it a hiatus? I don't want to say I didn't take my ball and go home. I wasn't quitting. I got some messages saying, you've given up. You've thrown in the towel. You're a loser. No, I took a break, brother.
Yeah, like I said, I did notice. I thought that you'd go on holiday again, but clearly not. It's
No.
yeah, it's because I was going to drop you a message and be like, okay, well, where you been? What's going on? But I thought, he's probably just swanning about, isn't he?
Yeah, man. Well, so yeah, just a few things went sour with regards to the gym, and fights were coming up, and I wasn't motivated. Work, family life balance took a bit of a turn because I've been super busy with everything lately, and so after I did the last podcast with you, about a week later, I just went about my business and started doing another podcast. I had a day to myself, so I got on one of the ships here in Lucerne. And I said, I wanted to do a podcast, but I also wanted to take a trip on the ship. Unfortunately, I couldn't be in two places at one time. So I brought the podcast stuff with me, and I did a podcast on the ship.
Right.
The problem with that is the wind was catching the mic and the whole episode was fucking dumped. I kind of knew it because I could hear my audio in my ears, and I knew it was kind of going to be not to standard, but I thought I could fix it and I couldn't.
Hey, at least you pay attention to the sound quality.
Yeah.
At least you pay attention to that, because it is advice. Because believe it or not, people have come to me for advice before. Because I'm about 120. Well, actually, that doesn't include my fight breakdown episodes. So I'm probably, in theory, double that. I'm probably about 300 or so episodes in. So through pure trial and error, I'm not saying I'm God's gift or anything, but I do know some of the do's and don'ts. You know what I mean? Yep. But some people, they take that advice on board, and I see their content. I'm like, good, yeah, no, that's loads better. But then there's some where I'm just like, well, that's just gone one ear out the other, hasn't it? Because you're still not using mics. You're still like the sound quality is awful. Like, you're still not editing it. Like, the excuse was, I want it to be raw. It's like, yeah, raw doesn't have to be shit though, does it?
Yeah. In the words of Brendan Schaub, there's meat and potatoes. You got to have your meat and potatoes,
Yeah.
So yeah, that episode went sour. I had to delete the whole goddamn thing. And it was a good episode. It was a post-fight analysis of our last podcast together. So
I kind of wanted to see that.
So I came back home, tried to edit it, failed. I sat here and I redid the whole episode. And when you're redoing something that you've just
done, your heart's
done,
just not in it. Yeah.
Your heart's not in it. You feel like you're repeating yourself. And I'm like, I just did a second episode and I came across very, I watched it back. I came across very like agitated. Angry. And yeah. So that got dumped.
I know exactly how you feel, because this is on par with that, like, if not worse. Because yesterday I've gotten back into playing GTA Online, and I did like a really hard mission. It was super hard. I did the whole mission. Literally, all I had to do was get back to my my agency. I literally, you got those like little gold, those like glowing circles that you.
I'm not a gamer.
Basically, there's a glowing circle you walk into, and that's it. Mission complete. As I was approaching that circle, literally my connection dropped out and it booted me out the game and saved none of my progress. I was pretty. So I know how you feel, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, man, it was tough. It was annoying, So that happened, and then a negotiation with the gym. I was full sure we were getting back in the gym, back inside, ready to sign a deal, and they had their blinkers on, and the negotiation went sour. We both walked away from the deal. So the search for the gym continued. So at the end of that week, man, I literally, and no disrespect, I was like, fuck everybody. Fuck the gym, fuck boxing, fuck UFC, fuck Bert Green and his fight picks.
Yeah.
I was just flipped the desk, pissed off, right? And glory be to our Lord Jesus Savior above in heaven. He granted me a concert. and it was my first concert back in 825 days. And I'm at the show. I'm having a great time. One of my favorite bands currently, Meshuggah. I had perhaps one or two whiskeys inside me at the time. And I thought, hey, I'm going to get the fire back soon. You better be ready to go. I need to call my boy Bert. We're going to be breaking down again soon. So hey, do a podcast intro just so you wake up tomorrow morning not remembering a thing from the night before and realize you've got a podcast to do.
Excellent. Well,
so that's what happened.
I'm glad that I was on your list of people to call in. So yeah,
there you go, man.
Yeah, couldn't be happier to be here, honestly.
Awesome, man. It's always a pleasure to have you. If you don't know Mr. Bert Green, go to the Bert Locker on YouTube, guys. He's the guy I go to for fight picks so that when I regurgitate stuff on this microphone, it comes across as genuine, you know?
I would just caveat to that is that the research I do is genuine and the way I break them down is genuine. My picks, awful, terrible. Just but I don't do the picks to if you're betting on mixed martial arts to make money. It's the same with any other gambling. Just get a lot of capital, bet on the favorite every time, and turn it into a system. And then eventually, bookmakers will not let you gamble on their sites. They will not let you go into their casinos because their house always wins. And when they don't, they will just block your account. Like I know professional gamblers, and literally that's what they do. They have to get new accounts like every kind of month or so because they gamble with a lot of capital, just betting on the favorites every time. There's a reason they're favorites, guys. The bookies are very rarely wrong. And yeah, so it's, like I said, I make bets because it's fun. And what I do is I put them together on what I like to call an MMA scratch card. It's like a scratch card, only you get to watch people punch each other in the face whilst you're scratching it off. And that is what I'm all about.
There you go, man. That's why I love watching your stuff, though. And when I get to have you on this episode or any other episode, I don't get to see your picks beforehand. So I gotta start doing my own research and I gotta start digging. And I go to the big bucks, the big podcasters in the US. But ever since I did my first episode with you, I'm like, hey, this guy knows what he's talking about. Maybe fucking listen to him, you know?
Yeah, you caught me. You always catch me on research night as well, which is good.
Yeah,
literally, this is the night that Well, I mean, obviously, the fights are tonight. I've just ruined the whole thing, haven't I?
Yeah. We're playing time travel.
The fights are tonight, but yeah, basically, what I do is I sit with my two screens and I just watch fights for a few hours, and I love it. It's one of my favorite things to do. I just go through the card. I'm like, I remember his face. I'm sure I've seen him, but let me just have a look at Fight Pass. It's what Fight Pass is very, very good for. As far as a fight library goes, there's really not much better out there. And yeah, it's one of my most enjoyable evenings, honestly. It's like you get to watch. Oh, I remember this guy. Yeah, he's very good from this range. He does this very well. And then I put that in my little spreadsheet here. Spreadsheet's getting pretty big now.
There you go.
I'm having to put filters on there so I can actually narrow it down to just the fighters I'm talking about at the moment.
Yeah. And when you're researching, do you watch full fights? Do you watch highlights or do you just go on written text?
I watch the full things.
The full thing.
I watch the full fights because it's like, because sometimes like there's guys that I'm not super aware of, but it's just like there's people on this card where it's just you can look at what their record is and everything, but I mean, there happens if I'm in a real rush, sometimes I'll go based off their records, but it's not the best way to do it because when you watch them, you can see what they do well, what they don't do well, possible things that could be exploited by the guy that they're fighting that week. And yeah, you can't do that unless you're actually watching them do it. It's like because it might say they're a boxer or whatever, but there are so many different kinds, as you well know. There's so many different facets to boxing. It's like, what range are they good from? Are they long punches? Do they like the heavy hooks on the inside? Do they counter well? What's their defense like? What's their wrestling defense like? And there's so many more things to go in than other, because on Wikipedia page it would just say fighting style boxing. It's like, okay, cool, but there's massively more to it than that.
Yeah, and that's what what I love doing. I obviously love talking with fight fans about fights because we bounce off each other and that's cool, even in the gym or whatever. But when someone asks a question who knows nothing about fighting and they're like, "What? Explain it to me." I remember sitting down with my dad once, and the guy on the bottom was attacking with like triangles and kimuras and arm bars and stuff like that. I said the guy on the bottom's going to win in about 20 seconds. I remember my dad was looking at it going, "No, how did you gauge that?" And sure enough, 20 seconds later, triangle. I'm like, boom. But when you really break it down, a lot of people think that this MMA, we'll talk about MMA.
Mhm.
MMA is human cockfighting. It's barbaric. It's two animals going in there proving who's the bigger testosterone, whatever. No, it's very mathematical, and there's a huge process to all the aspects of fighting. And I love breaking it down as well with someone who doesn't know anything about it, which is great.
Yeah, because the next thing is
That was wait. That was a very awkward silence. I need that to be acknowledged.
Well, I didn't know you were stopping there.
I stopped. No,
well,
no.
See,
go ahead.
But you're saying that I don't know anything about it.
No. I'm talking about no. God damn it. Now it's just pure unnecessarily awkward. What I'm talking about is I'm talking about someone who knows nothing about fighting, who I've just sat down with and wants me to explain why I enjoy it.
With your dad.
Yeah, if it was my dad or just a colleague or a friend who sees how important this sport is to me, and they think that it's human cockfighting, that it's two animals going in there to kick each other's ass.
I get you. Yeah. I've seen it because Bisping was on a podcast I think it was on Talk Sport or something recently, and there was a guy in there who liked boxing but thought that MMA was too brutal, and and Bisping was basically just explaining to him, look, I mean, not being funny, but there are way less deaths in it, it's because you don't understand it. You think it's more brutal than it is. It's obviously it's brutal. I mean, and also I don't like it when people say it's human cockfighting. It's like when they've never actually seen cockfighting in their lives. Cockfighting is if horse racing is the sport of kings, then cockfighting is a very good sport as well.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of nuance to it. You have to train those fight birds. It's good stuff. There's some real pageantry to it.
Yeah, it's there was that quote on there's the quote on The Hangover. I think they were doing the cockfighting at the beginning of Hangover 3, where he's like, we only no, it's the chickens, isn't it? We feed them cocaine and chickens. Classic. But yeah, man, it's good to be back. It's good to have set up. I mean, setting up the microphone tonight, first time in 3 or 4 weeks. I'm like, fuck, it's good to just get that feeling back. And I know for a fact I wasn't quitting. I was just like, there's a lot of shit going on in the news now. I wasn't interested in the fights that were coming up. The 2 podcasts went in the bin. The gym shit went sour. I see a lot of people who are completely unaware of what it takes to run a business making comments about city martial arts right now, who I just want to stick my finger in their fucking eye because they have no idea what's going on. But
because you get one of those per round. You've got to take advantage of that. You're allowed one per round, one groin strike as well.
But it was just the sum of all parts, and a 3 or 4 week break deserved. I'm happy about it. But I'm back. Here we are. UFC 275, bro.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly, I knew that Yachinchik versus Zhang Wei Li was on the card. I thought that was the kind of main event. I've got to be honest, I had no idea that Valentina Shevchenko was defending her title this weekend.
Yeah.
And I had no idea that Talia Santos was even really in title contention. No offense to her at all. Just I didn't really see. I mean, she's got a few decent wins, but she's going to be a heavy underdog, rightly so. But yeah.
Well, we'll see. What we'll do is we'll break down the fights. But guys,
yes,
one more time, back from a word from our sponsors. Is it back for a word from our sponsors? Would you say it that way?
Now it's.
How would you say that?
Now,
I haven't done ad reads in a while.
Once again, it is time for a word from our sponsors.
For a word from our sponsors. Yes, correct.
Yeah, I think so.
Let me open this. Guys, do me a favor, people of Lucerne and the Lucerne area, go to your local Lucerner beer brewery on Burgenstrasse 16. Get a Lucerner beer. Take a picture of you drinking the beer somewhere cool. Put it on your social media and hashtag CMA Lucerner beer. And the best picture at the end of the month will get a free case of beer. I think that's a good deal, Bert. What do you say?
It's a fantastic deal because who doesn't like beer and who doesn't like free beer? You know,
and it's delicious. I just, oh man,
I'll tell you who didn't like free beer. Hitler.
Hitler did not like free beer.
You don't want to be like Hitler, do you? Huh?
Wasn't he a vegan?
Yeah. Don't be like Hitler. Go and get yourself some Lucerne beer.
I'm going to talk to the owner. I'm going to talk to the owner and I'm going to ask him about that tagline. What is it? Yeah. Don't be like
Hitler. Go get yourself a Lucerne beer.
There you go, man. Yeah. Lucerne beer, guys. Go grab yourself a case, a bottle, a whatever. Go to their brewery. They've got T-shirts and accessories and stuff there. Lucerne beer. Don't be like Hitler. All right, guys. And we're back with another sponsor read from lolatong.com. We are sponsored by no.
Okay. What's this?
Take two.
In your own time. It's fine.
I slugged back that beer and that was not good. All right, here we go. Guys, we are also sponsored by lolatong.com. Do me a favor, guys, go to lolatong.com, check out their website, check out their attire, their fashion, their collections, who they work with, what they're doing right now. Check out their social media. They're all over the world. They're travelers, but it's a local business here in Lucerne and we want to help them out. Hopefully they'll help us out too. lolatong.com. Bert Green, you have inspired them. I have it on good authority that they're going to start making cowboy hats.
Oh, what, for real?
For real.
Oh, fantastic. I mean, they'll have to send me one, right?
The second that comes out, I'm going to make sure you get a cowboy hat with Lola Tong on it, bro.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah.
There you go.
That is amazing.
So go to checkout. When you make a purchase, check out the promo code section. Type in CMA for a 10% discount. Once again, go to lolatong.com. Make a purchase. Promo code section CMA. You will get a 10% discount. lolatong.com. We love them and they love you.
Yeah.
All right, guys, and we're back. Apologies, but I've been out of practice. I've tried to make them as funny as possible. I don't want to insult or make anybody unhappy. Speaking of insulting or making someone unhappy with comedy, Bert Green, they're trying to cancel you. What's going on?
As I said in my post, I'm not relevant enough to be cancelled at this stage. So,
right.
And that's unlucky for them, really. That's unfortunate. Have a go. You can't cancel me. I haven't even gotten started. Anyway.
I love it.
Anyway, basically, like, because the thing is, since that post and since that night, I have actually run this bit past several people, lots of people in comedy, and basically the response was, well, they didn't understand what it was you were joking about. They heard one word and they didn't understand the joke, basically, which is actually not my fault. That's their fault. However, I would say that the night in question, it's a bit weird in that it's not separate from the people who've just gone for a drink and the people who've gone for the comedy night. It's not advertised particularly well, and that's not the promoter's fault. That's the bar's fault, honestly. And they end up with people that haven't necessarily gone there to see a comedy night. So
that's dicey. Yeah, I understand.
So I understand. I don't want to upset people who have just gone out for a drink. But it is a new material night. So from my perspective, it's like I need to be able to do new material and not think too much about who it's going to offend or who it's going to upset, because they're new ideas. I'm just trying them out. And without that kind of freedom, for me, it's not a new material night, because I did say this to the promoter, who said, he said, look, I just want to clarify, I think you're great, but I didn't hear the bit. But basically, this table of women said that they got upset at the 3 rape jokes that I made. And number one, right?
I was not expecting that.
I don't have any rape jokes in my set. So I was a little bit confused, let alone 3. Like, they're just, it's not a thing. I think I made a joke about Louis C.K., but for clarity, I think they misunderstand because he never raped anybody. So what?
No, that wasn't.
So what are they talking about? That's again them not having the knowledge to differentiate what was going on. And the only bit that I think that they could have possibly even heard the word rapist was I did a bit of, well, it's a new idea that I was kind of working on. I've actually reworded it since because I do take, I'm very capable of taking criticism, and I can reword bits so that maybe it doesn't focus on that part of it. But basically the bit was, why do people need to stop putting inspirational quotes on pictures of Mike Tyson? He didn't say any of that shit. He was too busy biting ears and raping people, right? And that's yeah. But it's like, well, and it's a bit weird, isn't it? It's funny that if you're good enough at sport, you can basically start getting away with more and more shit. Look at O.J. Simpson, for instance. I mean, he allegedly butchered his wife and a waiter with a carving knife in an alleyway. But by the same token, he did rush for 2,000 yards in a single season. So you've got to give him some leeway, haven't you? And that's the joke. I'm making fun of the irony in the people getting away with stuff, and also the fact that people forget. It is to. I think actually, because it even upon reflection, I don't really like the joke because actually, the Mike Tyson thing. Yes, he did time for that, but it was one of the biggest stitch ups like ever. If you know the actual story, it's quite. It's not good for any party involved in that, honestly. And it was a bit of a stitch up. So actually, to be fair to Mike Tyson, I think I'd remove the rapist bit from it. And also I wouldn't want to upset Mike Tyson. He seems like I'm a Mike Tyson fan, by the way. I do like Mike Tyson. He's one of the best offensive boxers who ever lived. So I am a Mike Tyson fan, but I just think it's weird that where people draw the line on scumbaggery. Like they forget that in his day. Tyson could be as scumbaggery as anybody.
Yeah, it's true.
But people have forgotten that, and
it's very true. Now, this is where I was. You just hit the nail on the head, because I was about to say, what type of snowflake goes to a comedy show and gets offended by a joke? Where do we start drawing the line here? Because one of the quotes in the comment section that I read was that comedians should not be allowed the freedom to, whatever, unless you're a political analyst giving your political point of view on stage with a stick in your hand. No, I want a comedian to go up there and make me laugh, because there's this really emotional moment in a podcast that I actually go back on quite a lot. It's an episode of this past weekend. Theo Vaughn?
Yeah.
So Brian Callen was on the show with Theo Vaughn, and Theo Vaughn goes through huge insecurity, like massive insecurities. And Brian Callen made him cry. He said, people go to your show to not think about what's going on in their lives right now. They're not a dad, they're not a husband, they're not a wife, they're not an employee. They're just there for that guy to make that person laugh. And there's no line. You got to keep laughing, even at the sad things. You know what I mean? And like when you said that the goddamn bar was not properly advertising it as a comedy show, I guess people were just not understanding of what was going on at the time, and that's perfectly understandable. But
and that's the thing. It's like also, I can't be tiptoeing around what people decide to find offense in and what they don't, because not being funny, but there was a comic on like after me who I think is hilarious, by the way. I have no problem with the bit at all. I don't want to say the bit because I butcher it, but like it effectively it's a kid's cancer joke, right?
Fuck.
Yeah, but he does it in a funny way, and it's meant as a joke. And it is funny. It's obviously he doesn't really revel in anybody getting ill. But what my point to the promoter was like, well, okay, so where are these people drawing the line then? Well, that guy, like the other comics can joke about. They can joke about that, but me making a joke about Mike Tyson, that's over the line, is it?
Mm-hmm.
I don't. It's what people offense, like comedy, is subjective. And
if
if you go on Twitter and you allow any of that shit to offend you, or if you go to a comedy night and you allow that to actually affect you in a way that, oh my God, I can't continue unless I tell somebody and cry about how offended I am, kill yourself.
Yeah.
Just don't go to a comedy night.
Or just don't go. Exactly.
But
you know,
again,
Bill Burr had that bit, right, where he was asked on TV, where he outsmarted reporters. He was asked, don't you think you went a little too far with the Catholic Church jokes?
Don't you think they went a little too far?
Yeah, it was very like, you know, when you really break it down, all right, we can have this discussion, but bear in mind, I'm a comedian making jokes. Marilyn Manson had that amazing interview back in 2002 or 3, where he was basically saying, don't you think that your music is causing all this chaos and destruction among the youth in our generation? And he's like, I'm just a rock star up on stage singing rock songs. Why don't you talk to the politicians who are actually causing the chaos with the like with the wars that are going on, with everything that they're, you know, I don't even know what to even say about that. But when you're a rock star singing songs,
you got one job: sing the songs,
got one
entertain
job.
the crowd.
And comedians make us laugh.
Yeah,
that's enough.
That's it. Look, like I said, it might not have been the fun. I would say at worst, it might, because again, it's a new bit. It's clunky. I'm trying to find, you know, the funny in it. There is funny in there. Like I said, I've reworded it slightly so now it doesn't sound quite as kind of brutal, but it's just, but the joke is still there and it's still funny. People put so many quotes on top of pictures of Mike Tyson that he never fucking said. They do it with all celebrities as well, and that's just why social media can't be trusted, man.
Oh, dude, if it's on the internet though, it's got to be true, right?
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
Let's swing it on.
Let's move on.
Moving on. UFC 275. I think one of the first full UFCs that I ever watched was UFC 75. I think it might have been. I saw one fight. The first fight I saw, I think, was Chuck Liddell versus Babalu Sabral. But then the first
that was. I think that was the first
event
I saw as well. Oops.
I think the first one I saw was 75. That might have been Randy Couture's return against Tim Silva, heavyweight. I think that's what that was. I could be completely
when he came out
wrong.
of retirement.
Yeah, when he came back out of retirement and then hit Silva with an overhand right.
Right. Yeah.
Wow, vicious. Yeah. So tonight, it's dropping tonight, UFC 275, man. I'm excited. You know what? I'm not totally familiar with the full card, but I'm super excited for the final 3 fights of the main card. Maybe you can briefly break down the first couple of fights, because I genuinely have no idea who these people are.
Okay, so first of all, we've got Jack Della Madeleine against Ramzan Emeev. Now, this is an interesting one because you have a Dagestani beard terror guy who is not a favorite. You know, everyone's terrified of that beard Dagestan wrestling style.
Yeah,
because it's terrifying. You know, and they'll drown you. Yeah, he's not the favorite in this one, and actually, I'd be tempted to bet on him just because he's he's former M1 middleweight champion. He's fighting at welterweight now, and he is very good at like dominating the wrestling, but most of the time he will go to a decision. In fact, every fight that he's won in the UFC has gone to a decision. He lost to Danny Roberts last time out, which was good for Danny Roberts. Split decision, close fight. But his opponent, Jack Della Madeleine, is Australian from Perth. Now, he's not really had many fights in the UFC, but I did watch one of his fights earlier. And you know what? His boxing is pretty good. Like he's got a lovely 1-2 that he uses to close the distance, and he has quite a lot of power. He's got a very powerful left cross when he uses his 1-2 to get into that range, and then he can be quite crushing with that left cross. So.
And he's also got two huge cauliflower ears, so I guess wrestling is in his repertoire as well.
His nose is also halfway across the face, so I don't
Yeah.
know if that means he's good boxing or bad.
He doesn't have that left hand up, I'd say. But
For
yeah,
me,
I really can't call this one. I don't know these guys enough.
well, I don't know who's going to win, but I'd fancy Ramazan Emeev as an underdog. I'd
Mhm.
definitely buy a decision. Let me just quickly log into my to my gambling site because I just want to see what the odds actually are on him. Because sometimes the American odds on the UFC page are quite different to the odds in the UK. Where is he? Where is he? Ramzan Emeev. Yeah, he's underdog here as well. 3.25 on the decision. If he wins, it's almost certainly going to be a decision.
Right.
And
And is he like, is it more lay and pray? Or is he Khabib kind of like just hold you down?
he'll hold you down. He's very Khabib, but he will go for the submissions. He's got a few like
Mm.
in M1, but he's very much positioned before submission. He's quite safe in that kind of style. But
Right.
yeah, actually, I mean, it wouldn't be surprising to see him get submission. Actually, that's 7-1. That's not terrible. I haven't even put my bets down yet, but that might be one that I go with because it's basically it depends if it stays on the feet. I think Madeleine is probably going to have the advantage, but
Gotcha.
yeah, you never quite know until they square after you. So.
And then we got Rodrigo. How do you pronounce that? Rodrigo
Rogerio
Bontorin.
Bontorin.
How are you pronouncing that? It's Brazilian, I guess.
Yeah, Rogerio. Yeah, Rogerio Bontorin against Manil Cap.
And you're saying it's not Cape?
It's Cap. Yeah.
It's Cap.
Yeah. Well, according to John Anik, I watched one of his fights earlier. This is classic striker versus grappler, really. Yeah. You've got Bontorin, who's a BJJ black belt under Gile Ribeiro, and
that's
Cap,
a fantastic pronunciation. Do that again.
Gile Ribeiro.
The way you roll that R, man, just sensual.
I think that's who he's got his black belt under. That's at least who he trains with at the moment. That might not be the guy who gave him his black belt. Full disclosure, I do not know. But right. Rogerio, really, if it stays on the feet, Cap is one flying knee away from ending it. He's got a few first round finishes where one by flying knee. It was quite a good book, but by the same token, that flying knee and the other knockout, flying knee was against Osborne, who is another Ode Osborne is another. He's quite a good kickboxer, kind of an in and out, light on the feet kickboxer, very good, very flashy, very very good himself. Actually, it was a good competitive fight. It's one that's well worth going back to watch. Manel Cap against Ode Osborne, but. He obviously got caught with the flying knee. Spoiler alert! Sorry. That's
all right.
But my only caveat with that is that's against another kickboxer, and I was watching another fight that actually Cap lost, and it was against a Brazilian chap who was good BJJ, but you could tell he also had a pretty good Muay Thai back because you know how you can kind of tell when they keep their feet flat and and the kicks come in low, but it's just all power, like the Muay Thai style, not light on the feet, but just kind of planted, like classic Shogun style. Yeah. Like just moving forward, moving like up. One foot at a time, bang, bang. So the guy who was fighting in that one where he lost, he kind of lost on the striking, but he was so concerned with stopping every takedown that he kind of forgot to get involved in the striking and ended up falling behind on the cards, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah, so it makes sense.
Basically, for me, I'm wondering whether the same thing could potentially happen if he's too concerned about stopping the takedown. However, he's really concerned with stopping the takedown, except when he does some silly things, like there's a little back heel kick that he does. He does it quite a lot. I've seen him do it in every fight. I think he did, like how a footballer does, like a back heel, like a Cruyff turn or whatever. He does it through, loops it through the back of his own knee and lands the kick there. A pointless strike, really.
Oh, you mean he switches the feet so the left foot would stay planted?
Him over. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's a dangerous move. Anderson Silva versus the Brazilian guy, where he was toying with him in Abu Dhabi.
Either Talis Latis or Damian Maia.
Damian Maia, yeah, he caught Damian Maia with that a few times on the calf as well.
Yeah.
You got to have some confidence to throw that, though, right?
But I've seen him throw cartwheel kicks and things like that, where he just ends up on the floor on the bottom. And if you do that against Rogerio, Rogerio's good. He's got 11 of 16 wins by submission. He don't mess about. If it gets to the floor, and I saw him fight a really good judo guy actually, and the judo guy kept throwing him all over the place, but he threw him, and then Bontorin just had such good sweeps. He just swept him, got into top position, was just controlling him, like going for submissions and things, but just controlling him. So if it goes to the ground, Bontorin's got it like pretty easily, I would say. But if it that's who I would lean towards in this fight. Honestly, I think that as much as I like Cap, he gets a little bit reckless, and he does leave kind of too many openings. And so I'll go with Bontorin. I'm going to see what the odds are. Actually, I don't know who. Bontorin's the underdog actually. 5.5 on the submission. That's not bad. I'm going to go with that. Honestly.
Sweet.
However, caveat to that, I'll say that Manel Cap is never more than one flashy strike away from ending somebody's night. So it could easily go that way. Let's
see what happens with that one. And the one that I'm actually most looking forward to in this one, how do you pronounce this? Weili Zhang? Or is it Zhang Weili?
I forget if they've already switched them around or not, because I think to be in Chinese, you say the last bit first, so it's Weili Zhang. I think.
Be like Keen Dave, I get it, yeah. And Johanna Jimjenchek, I got that pronunciation right.
Yeah, Jimjenchek, I think.
Yeah, because I'm actually married to a woman from the same location as that lady. I'm very excited about this fight, man, and I'll tell you why. Because it's only 3 rounds.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fast. They both know what both bring. A very uncharacteristic Johanna this week with the press, and she's not giving her boogie woman antics, and she's not trash talking. I think it's because of the level of respect they have for each other as strikers. Johanna's face after the last one was tough to watch.
I haven't rewatched that fight yet. Obviously, that's on my list of ones to watch tonight for my fight research. Because when they've already fought each other, you have to watch it back.
Even the first one.
Did you watch it recently?
I watched it about what day is today? Well, we're playing the time machine game. So today is Thursday. So I watched it on Monday.
Because in my head, please correct me if I'm wrong, but in my head, Zhang Weili did a lot of damage in the first couple of rounds. But once the damage was done, Jędrzejczyk kind of found a second wind and really came on strong in the last kind of 3 rounds, from what I remember. Would that be a fair assessment?
Very true.
I'll tell you what, my memory is not as sieve-like as I thought it was.
That's it, man. You're not getting punched in the head, though, right?
That's true. Well, I mean, not all the time.
Not all the time, right?
Some of the time.
But that's what makes this fight so exciting. It's because it's only 3 rounds. So they're not going to have to gauge that 5-round gap of reserving your tank in round 3 because you've got 2 more potential championship rounds ahead. So I think they're going to get after it immediately. And that's what makes this one so exciting.
Which for me favors Zhang Weili.
It does.
Massively. Because the last time, because like I said, from what I remember, Weili Zhang faded definitely in the last 2 rounds. She faded,
right?
And I think in order to beat her, Jędrzejczyk needed her to fade. If there aren't any rounds for her to go into to fade, I think that Weili Zhang runs away with this one. I think it'll probably be a decision again, but it'll be unanimous for Weili Zhang.
And what annoys me most about this, and again, controversy, maybe I'm about to speak out of turn here, but I've made this comment before. And it's only on women. And the only reason I can make this on women is because they've on Instagram, they've sexualized their whole presence in the UFC. Not all of them, but some of them, especially like the poster girl for this is Paige Van Zandt, right?
Oh yeah, but she's not really a fighter anymore.
It's tough, man. It's really tough. And with Johanna, like she came into the UFC as this fucking assassinator, this killer. She would put these girls away. Like she was
this kind of pale, goofy looking assassin.
Yeah, she didn't give a fuck about how she looked on weigh-ins day.
Yeah.
She was just going
She
in
looked
there.
like Brandon Moreno.
She looked like Brandon Moreno. Exactly. And she would put these girls away like it was nobody's business. The second she gets some little up top surgery, she starts posting pictures on Instagram, on the beach in Miami. And, you see her career since all that happened. It's just been on the downward spiral.
I think that possibly would have happened anyway, because I don't think that her out of octagon activities have been a detriment to her fighting. I think that honestly, the rest of the women's division just kind of caught up, because if you remember, she was just a step ahead. I'm not saying she wasn't attractive beforehand, because the thing is like it's weird. Like when they're in the octagon, I don't really think of them in that way at all. Like, because I'm there to watch fighters. But
I don't either.
With the exception of oh God, I've forgotten her name.
Mackenzie Dern.
No.
The one who fought a Philly's Herring.
No.
Rachel Ostovich.
No. You wouldn't. It'll come to me.
That's what she said.
Okay. Oh, she's brilliant. She's like literally. She is incredible.
Come on, man. Get the name.
No, we'll have to move on. It'll come back.
The people watching want to Google her immediately. Are you thinking of Beck Rawlings?
No.
Are you thinking of Paige Van Zandt?
No, absolutely not. No. I'm not a huge Paige. I don't like. I've never really thought Paige. I understand that she's conventionally attractive.
Do you know one of the funniest?
I've never been a huge fan.
One of the funniest memes I've ever seen is, that scene from Dumb and Dumber where they're in the shaggin' wagon, and it's the guy who's trying to find Jim Carrey and Daniels, and he's like, "Hey man, do you want to hear the most annoying sound in all the world?" And it's a picture of Paige Van Zandt with a microphone in her hand. Doesn't matter. We'll move on. But so for this one, I'm very excited for it, because it's 3 rounds. They're going to get after it straight away. They're going to only have the 3 rounds. So if it makes it to the 3rd round, that's going to be fireworks. I don't want to side with outside of Poland here, but I have to. So I risk getting a thump in the side of the head from a fellow Polish lady who happens to live in this apartment. But I think Weili Zhang is going to walk away with it, and I think she gets another title shot before the end of the year.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably fair.
Yeah,
I think that's more. Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all.
Mm-hmm.
I think the same Weili over 3 rounds is going to look vastly better.
Yeah,
yeah.
So let's see, and then the co-main event, a fight you didn't even know was on the card until recently. Valentino Shevchenko versus how do you pronounce her name? Talia Santos.
Talia Santos, yeah.
Talia Santos. So I think is it grappler versus striker? I think they're both strikers, right?
They're both strikers. Talia Santos she's got good power. I do remember she's got like a heavy Muay Thai style, from what I remember.
Mm-hmm.
Like a heavy Muay Thai style, like real heavy leg kicks. Because I think she really lit up Roxanne Modafferi and Joanna Wood. She was lighting up before she, before they went to the floor, and she got the submission in that one. I mean, yeah, she's probably the next in line, but when you've got rank 4 fighting the champion, you're kind of like,
yeah, what are we doing here?
Does she have a chance against Valentina? Yeah, she's got a chance. Small one. I wouldn't. Again, though, look, if you want to take an underdog, go with Talia Santos. She's got heavy Muay Thai, heavy power. If she connects with anyone, they're going to sleep. All it takes is one. All it takes is for Valentina to just slip up one time. But I think the odds of that happening are very, very slim, because Valentina is a machine.
Yeah,
she's just that good.
Yeah, I think if we're going to go with just Muay Thai alone, and especially with Valentino's ability to capitalize if she gets the knockdown, she runs straight in. She gets a dominant position. She at least secures half guard. She never goes into like full guard, and she gets that top position. She good solid ground and pound. I don't know if like. Does she have the knockout power? Has she had any knockouts as of her last 5 fights? I don't think so.
I don't think she has.
No, a lot of them have been.
She has got 10 knockouts in her career, though.
Yeah. So let's see. I mean, I can't call this one as confidently as I want, but I just think, and still, just by sheer numbers, and as you say, 4 fighting champion, it's not as exciting. It's just a case of next in line because 2, 3 are out of action or out of sequence with timeline.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to.
You're full of shit, Dave.
I'm just trying to think of a way that I could see Talia Santos winning it. And the problem when you've got somebody as good as Valentina Shevchenko is you can't see one, can you?
Yeah.
It's tough to get excited about that.
It is. Yeah. That's the thing.
It's like this is the problem. I can't remember who I was probably some idiot online, but I was just debating that sometimes kind of dominance. No. It was somebody in a Facebook group. It was just dominance can sometimes be a double-edged sword. You know, if you just get too dominant, it could end up being dull.
Yeah, like the whole Ronda Rousey effect when she was just.
Because you need jeopardy. That's what I would say. You need some jeopardy. I don't think there's really much jeopardy in that fight because I don't think that there's anything that Santos does that's particularly going to threaten Shevchenko. I mean, outside of the power, she does have like power, especially with the leg kicks, but I don't see her being good enough to catch Shevchenko unless Shevchenko gets overconfident, complacent, and slips up like Joanna did, arguably, against Nami Yunez.
Yeah.
But I don't see that happening. I just don't think that Valentina has that in her personality. Do you?
I mean, she's just proved that anybody outside of she fought Amanda Nunes at 145. That was at 145, right?
Tabitha Ricci. Damn it.
Tabitha Ricci, the stripper.
Tabitha Ricci. That's my favorite in the UFC right now. Honestly, Google a picture, put it up. Tabitha Ricci. God damn it, that was driving me crazy.
I think I know. Is that the stripper, the one that got up on Joe Rogan last time?
No, it's not her. But Tabitha Ricci is my absolute favorite. She doesn't know this yet, but we'll be married someday.
Tabitha, and Ricci is R-I-C-I?
R-I-C-C-I.
C-C-I.
So, nickname's the Baby Shark. She's lovely. She's a decent fighter, but she's also just strikingly attractive.
Right. It's the long hair, right? Long, lush hair like you.
Everything. Just fantastic. I'm so glad that I remember that was really it was like when you got like a kind of like a bit of cereal stuck in your teeth. I was just like, why can't I remember?
Amazing.
Okay, just in time to really focus on the main event.
There just in time. And the main event of the evening, I'm going to get this pronunciation correct because everybody has a different one. My one is Glover Teixeira.
No, it's Teixeira.
Teixeira, okay, because a lot of
Teixeira
and Yuri
Prochaska.
I'm going to let you have it. Prochaska.
Prochaska is a really easy one. Yuri Prochaska.
I mean, it's easy for you. Don't make me feel terrible, bro.
No, I'm not. Yeah, okay. It's,
let me do it without your interruption. Prochaska.
Yeah, that's right.
Perfect. Okay, I want to make sure I get that right.
Yuri Prochaska.
All right. So for people who don't know, Glover Teixeira is a UFC vet for many, many years, former training partner of I was about to say Kurt Cobain.
Of Chuck. Kurt Angle.
Kurt Angle, yeah. Chuck Liddell. He's been in the UFC 13 years or something like that.
Yeah.
He's been there, done that, worn the t-shirt, has had wins, has had losses. In my opinion, has the title via a very unexpected win against Jan Blachowicz. And this is his first title defense. against a guy who's in his third fight of the UFC. This is number 3 for Yuri. So this is a tremendously exciting main event.
Yeah, it really is. And also, you just know with the style as well, because Yuri, because who did he last fight? He last fought Reyes, didn't he? Dominic Reyes?
Dominic Reyes, and he assassinated
it
Reyes'
was like
face.
a spinning back elbow against the fence that was just horrific. That was his last fight. I was struggling. I thought, did he fight Reyes and then fight Oezdemir? But no, he fought Oezdemir, who hasn't beaten Oezdemir lately. I mean, no offense to the guy, but
so he's from a place in Switzerland called Fribourg. I used to live in Fribourg. I was living in Fribourg for like 7 years, and his dad owns a restaurant, and he'd be working in the restaurant. I'd get like, he used to fight in Bellator, and I'd be going in for like pizza or whatever, and I'm like, oh shit, it's Volkan Oezdemir from Bellator, right there.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, man.
I used to love No Time. Like he was just knocking people out all over the place. He seems to have just lost something. There's something, unless it's just that the rest of the division is kind of caught up a bit, and because sometimes a certain style will be effective until it's not.
Yeah,
does that make sense? Because you see it happen a lot in American football. Like the Jacksonville Jaguars had like a really good season one year because their defense was just unstoppable. Like their defense was crushing everybody. They re-signed every member of that defense bar like 1 or 2 players, I think, for the following season. But because they did the same things, all the other coaches had thought up ways to get around it, so they were nowhere near as effective. And it's the same in mixed martial arts. Right. Sometimes a new style comes along. Eventually, that Dagestan wrestling style will not be as effective as it is right now. Coaches will figure out a way around it. They will figure out a counter to it. It will happen. It will take a few years. But in 5-10 years' time, you'll see the Dagestan guys start to struggle against something else we probably haven't even seen yet.
Yeah, true.
You know what I mean, it's just how it progresses.
But I'm excited for this one, and I'll tell you why. Because I like, there was a part of me this week that wanted to say, I'm not going to call it. I can't call it because I don't want to sound too confident. But that's boring, and that's not why we press record and send this out for our people to watch. I think Yuri gets it done, and I'll tell you why. Because the blueprint of watching Alexander Gustafsson take out Glover with those long, unorthodox strikes. He's got this, it's like an uppercut, but like it's like a jab.
It was the Mortal Kombat combo, I like to call it. It was insane. Sensational. It was sensational.
And when you have a fighter like Jan Blachowicz, who's not as big and doesn't have those unorthodox strikes, you can really get in on that striking. But when it's unorthodox and it's coming from all these different type of, do we say samurai angles? Because he's just all over the fucking place. And he's got the coolest hair in the UFC with the little man bun like a soccer mom. But I just think,
or
that was all sarcasm, sorry.
Oh, good.
But I just think I could be completely wrong, and on Sunday I look like a fool, but I just think this guy is going to be a disaster for everybody in the division for at least the next 2 years. Winner and new Yuri, how do you pronounce it?
Yuri Prochaska.
Yeah, I just think Glover retires on this one.
What I like about Yuri is that he turned down a contract in the UFC a few years ago, went and fought in Rising because he wanted to carry on building his skill set. He knew where he seems to know where he is. Does that make sense? He's very aware of where he needs to improve, because he was light heavyweight champion in Rising, but he was the best guy he fought in Rising with respect is probably Muhammad Lawal. Fabio Maldonado, he's a bit of a punching bag, to be fair. He did beat Fedor Maldonado, didn't he?
Oh, that was he fought him recently, last year, I think.
Yeah. CB Dollaway hasn't been the same for some time, and so let's with the greatest of respect, I don't think his title run in Rising was like necessary like UFC caliber guys.
No, for real.
But then he comes into the UFC He starches Volkan Oezdemir, which was just very impressive because Oezdemir is a tough guy. All joke, like I say, I was quite disparaging of Oezdemir just not moments ago. And I already feel bad because I actually do like Oezdemir. I think he's a hell of a fighter. He really is. Yeah. I'd like to see him get back to form, honestly. And then you got Dominic Reyes, who I think was, after the Jones fight, honestly, I felt like he was vastly overrated. I feel like people thought that he had beaten John Jones. And so for that reason, he was like the uncrowned king. So he was almost undefeatable. So no, Reyes is good, don't get me wrong, but there are so many holes they're out there to be exploited. Like, I knew that Jan Blachowicz was going to beat him, and I knew that Yuri Prochaska was going to beat him. I don't think a win over Dominic Reyes in that context is as impressive as because don't get me wrong, Reyes is a dangerous striker, but I feel like that played straight into Yuri Prochaska's wheelhouse. It's just exactly what he wanted. Same with Jan Blachowicz. Jan Blachowicz knew that if he could keep him on the end of his long punches, his straights, if you start hitting him, because Reyes went into the Blachowicz fight thinking, it almost, you could see it on him, like he was thinking, look, I arguably beat John Jones. I'm going to smoke this guy. Yeah. Going, what's this guy even doing in here with me? And that was a mistake. So I'm hoping that we see Dominic Reyes come back and get back to form. But we're focusing on Yuri Prochaska right now. I'm going to try and stay on point.
Yeah. Who do you think's going to win?
Getting to that. Because what I like about Yuri Prochaska is also something that could be a real detriment here, because he strikes from samurai angles. You know, he tends to keep he does get hit. He gets hit quite a lot. He's got a very good chin. He can occasionally throw strikes that leave him off balance, and that there is the problem. Because make no mistake, if this fight ends up on the floor, Glover Teixeira is going to go through him like a hot knife through butter. His jiu-jitsu is extremely good. And I think the disparity between the skills on the ground is bigger than the disparity between the skills on the feet. That's what I feel. I think that Glover Teixeira hits hard enough and has been hitting long enough to be at least competitive on the feet, especially against Yuri Prochaska, who has a habit of leaving openings. Like he leaves the openings, fighters just haven't taken them yet. I think that Glover Teixeira, he's a veteran. He's seen it all. I think that if you leave those openings against Glover Teixeira, he may well punish you for it. And as he's coming in as an underdog, I'm going with Glover. I'm going to take the submission as well. I'm going to have a quick look and see what the odds are on that, because I haven't looked yet.
Because Dominic Reyes hit him and wobbled him right before the knockout. So you're right in what you're saying in relation to sloppy.
Yeah, he leaves openings.
But can Glover
Teixeira hits really hard. Sorry, oops. Sorry.
But yeah, he just like is Glover, when is that going to happen? Is that going to happen when Glover is aware of where his surroundings are, where his senses are, when it's early in the fight, or when he's exhausted and it's round 3 and 4, and then Yuri gets sloppy? So that's this whole MMA mathematics that probably we can't judge now, but at the same time, it's exciting because it's essentially, as you say, grappler versus striker with the more heavy discrepancy on the ground. For sure.
And the thing is like, just to touch on what you said there, is like, is he going to have to wait until like the third round when Jiri gets like sloppy? It's like, honestly, looking at his past performances, you ain't got to wait until the third round for Jiri to get sloppy. You just don't. Yeah. He leaves openings in the first round. Like,
he does, but he's more powerful. He's more powerful at that beginning. You know, when you're a little bit fatigued, round 3, round 4, and you get sloppy, it's a big difference.
They're drier in the beginning, though. If he swings and misses and leaves an opening for Teixeira to go in, get that body lock, drag him down to the ground, hop on top of him, there's going to be very few ways for Yuri Prochaska to get him away. I mean, the thing is, don't forget, Teixeira, he has knockout power. 33 out of his 33 wins, 18 are by knockout. He's got more knockouts than he does submissions, but just not kind of recently. He just like recent, like what is it? His last
He's like 5 or 6 wins.
His last 6 wins, 5 are finishes, 4 are submissions, and then there was obviously the TKO of Anthony Smith, which was very impressive considering Anthony Smith was pouring it on him early.
Yeah, he knocked out Anthony Smith's teeth, and Anthony Smith gave it to the referee, and then Glover apologized, and Anthony said, "It is what it is," as he's getting hit from the back. That was phenomenal.
Yeah, that was a great fight. I would love to see them rematch. Actually, I would like just early pick. I'm taking Anthony Smith to beat what's his bloody name? The guy that they're all terrified of at light heavyweight.
Chimaev? No, not light heavyweight.
Name's gone. It'll come back to me. But
is it Tabitha Ricci?
It's not Tabitha Ricci.
Ricci.
No, it's the guy again.
Kobe Covington.
No. Oh my god. This is
you call yourself a fight fan.
Hold on. I don't know why it's disappeared from my head. I know him. I can see him. Like he had a very dull fight against Thiago Santos last time out.
Oh yeah.
Magomed Ankalaev.
Magomed Ankalaev.
Thank you. Yes, I think that Anthony Smith beats him. I'm not overly impressed by Magomed. I think that
not in striking.
He plays it too safe.
Yeah.
And I think that if he does that against Anthony Smith, I think Smith might be a problem for him. But anyway, back to the task at hand. I'm taking Glover Teixeira by submission, but I am tempted to go for the knockout, but just because the odds are better. But because the submission's only 3.5 to 1. Like the bookies are fairly confident that if Teixeira wins, it will be a submission. And I think they're right. But
let's see. But yeah, man, it is phenomenal to be back. I am so glad to have you here on it. Thank you. It motivated. I'm slurring my words. I've had one beer. Jesus Christ. It motivated me to get back educated on I'm back up to speed on what's happening, because I'm looking at, I stayed off social media. I had like 1 or 2 posts in the last month, and I was just like down and just wanted to stay away from it all. I didn't look at a single fight. I didn't go near anything to do with the fight world or podcasting. And now I'm back, and I thank you so much for being here, man. It's an absolute pleasure.
It's great. It's great to have you back, man. Honestly, like, I did notice that you hadn't put up an episode in a while. I was like, I thought, he's on holiday. He's probably having the time of his life. He's fine.
Chilling out. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but it's I'm honestly, I'm honoured that you would think of me to come on here and break down fights with you. I absolutely love doing it, and it's a fun time. Thank you for having me.
Awesome, man. You're my favorite guy to talk to about fights right now, so it's a pleasure. And tell people where to go to see you and what you're doing and how they get in touch.
Well, the Burt Locker is on YouTube, so that's just the Burt Locker on YouTube. The Burt Green on Instagram, but I'm also on Patreon as well. And just a little update on the Patreon stuff. I've figured out a new way of doing it, just to give my Patreon members a little bit extra. I'm going to be, because I break down a few fights, but there's now going to be a fight that's exclusive to Patreon every week. So during the video, I will say, right, next I'll be breaking down such and such versus such and such. I've got some good insights on there. It should be a fun one to break down, but that is going onto my Patreon, so head over there now, and then I'm going to edit that out, and I'll drop that as an exclusive video for the Patreon, because I feel like my Patreon subscribers do need to get a little bit extra as well. And also you get early access to all the picks as well. You get them a day early, and you get exclusive fight picks. So yeah. So.
Excellent, man. In my internal rant last month, I was like, "Fuck Burt Green and his Patreon." I haven't had a chance to subscribe. It was around that time. It was after our episode that I set up a Patreon account to go and subscribe. But I will be doing that this week. I promise.
Oh no, like I said, that's much appreciated, dude. It's like like I said, there's gonna be more exclusive stuff dropping just on the Patreon, because I think I need to do more of it on there, because the audio episodes and stuff like that aren't quite enough. But I feel like I feel like a free, like an extra fight or two every week, depending on how many I'm actually breaking down, it'll be useful to have on there.
Yeah, man, that's a good idea.
A lot of the time, the fights that I break down where the fighters aren't as well known are the better ones, because I really do research them quite heavily. Whereas the bigger names, I'm going from memory a lot of the time, because I have seen a lot of their fights anyway. Whereas the smaller names, like the reason I know so much about Manel Cap and those fellas is because I've literally just been sat watching a lot of their fights, and just so that sometimes they're the better ones that I kind of break down. They're all fun to break down, though, to be fair. It's what I like doing.
Yeah, man, that's the thing. That's why I took a break. It wasn't fun for me after that first week. So yeah, here I am back again. But yeah, man, thank you very much for coming on, man. I really appreciate you being here. Guys, people of City Martial Arts, people of the Lucerne area, do me a favor, get a Lucerner beer and go shop at Lola Tong. For my boxers during the week, we're going to start boxing more regularly now, Monday, Wednesday, and maybe a Thursday or Friday too. Next Monday, after this weekend, I'm going to go see another place for the gym. My goal, and it has been consistent this entire time, my goal is to get everything out of storage and into a space for the gym. There's commercial property opening up all over Lucerne. The problem is we're having trouble with noise. A lot of places are surrounded in residential property. So that's the main obstacle that we're having at the moment. But my search continues, and it will not stop until we are satisfied and back in the gym with our boxing bag up and our ring set up. And that's the goal. Bert, thank you once again for being on, man. I appreciate your time.
Absolute pleasure, man.
Rocking.